Hello, my name is Precious and I am the blogger for The Single Maven. Today I wanted to share a little bit of my book for you guys. The title of the book is The Sweetest Transition: Lessons in Life, Love, and Self-Discovery. It is going to be a mixture of a memoir and a self-help book, and I feel safe in sharing the title with you because I am down to the editing process and looking at editors and potential publishers. So cross your fingers that the sweetest transition comes to be within the next few months, at least before October of 2017. I started it in October of 2015, so we want to hit publication before the 2-year mark. So I've shared some of the book, bits and pieces of it on the blog, but this specific blog post today is entitled Thinking Limitations. Part of this was shared in my free course offered for my aspiring entrepreneurs, and this course was entitled The Fear Factor. So I shared some thinking limitations, and basically what the thinking limitations topic is about is fear and how fear plays a part in us creating thinking limitations for ourselves. And I think that can play a part in your personal life and your professional life. It does not have to be something that we look at from only the lens of a business professional. I think it crosses barriers, race, age, gender, all types. So I want to share a little bit of the book and also maybe look at 3 or 4 thinking limitations. We'll see if we can keep up to 15 minutes. That's my goal. And I encourage you to give me feedback. I want to see what you all think about the thinking limitations, which one you can identify with more or less, and also how that has impacted your life. So you don't have to be a single maven to comment. I encourage anyone to comment because, like I said, fear and thinking limitations have no boundaries in regards to who it can affect. So if we allow fear the opportunity to linger, it will multiply. Fear will reproduce on the fertile ground you have laid for it. The offspring produced create thinking limitations that become prevalent in your life. In order to transition from a life led by fear, one has to recognize what these thinking limitations look like. You need to know the truth about fear's deadly trap and the mind games that it plays. It is at this point that we transition into a position of empowerment. So, I'm super excited about sharing some of this with you because I think it will be helpful. Fear is something that's played a huge role in my life, probably, oh my gosh, since I was like a little girl. I don't want to sound like an old archaic lady in speaking about it, but really, to be honest with you, there are things in the book that do go back to childhood, and I think that fear and thinking limitations have played a huge role in my life. But for me facing my fears, I would not have even considered releasing all of the things that I was writing, journaling about, and typing into a book. I think that God is leading me to be more transparent about myself and my life and my identity, but also to realize that if I hold on to things that have potentially affected me or limited me, I can't be progressive in my thought and thinking and growth. And also I can't potentially help someone else as well. And this is all God working through me. I really take no credit for any of this because I realize I'm a work in progress and fear still plays a huge role in my life. So thinking limitation number 1 is fear has the capability to cloud your judgment. Now, fear has the capability to cloud your judgment on a regular basis, people. It gives you an inability to think rationally about things, as well as fully make any major decision that you have to make. So fear drives your entire thinking process. And I think sometimes we don't think about the impact that fear plays, but the bigger the decision you have to make, the bigger role that fear plays. That prevents you from even starting or considering to start on something in your life because you're fearful about what could happen. Fear can come in and cloud your ability to come to a reasonable conclusion. So you can't give a true assessment of something you need to consider doing or even anticipate doing in the future because, I can't be reasonable about it because fear is the big overarching thing that leads and drives me. You're not able to fully analyze the decision from all angles because fear prevents you from being able to be multifaceted and multidimensional in your thinking. When fear drives your entire thought process, it creates an illusion that causes you to not pay attention to choices that you're making. So if I let fear drive how I think about something or how someone may perceive me or how I may perceive a specific situation, there's an illusion that takes place that I don't realize the decisions that I'm making based upon what I think is going to happen, based upon what I think someone else is thinking. And fear is like the catalyst for all of this, but it's all an illusion. I have no facts to prove or back up that specific thing, right? So you're making choices that are limited in nature, and also you're bound by only looking at life from one angle. You're only looking at it from the fear angle. So thinking limitation number one, think about fear has the capability to cloud your judgment. Where do you see fear clouding your judgment in your life? And that could be personally or professionally. All right, let's look at thinking limitation number two. Fear also causes you to not pay attention to the words that you speak. Yeah. Fear also causes you to not pay attention to the words that you speak. So I would find myself speaking words that are draining and not empowering. So these words carry dead weight. So sometimes I find myself saying, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. Oh my gosh, I feel so alone. Or, oh my gosh, I just don't know what to do. I'm just so confused. Well, that's not saying you negate the fact of the validity of that specific situation. You could be a little fatigued, or you could just be drained by your thoughts, constant thoughts, and the words that you're speaking. You're not speaking life. Now, I've actually tried this before where I may feel a certain way. Take, for instance, I wake up in the morning. I'm not really a morning person, right? But I'm more productive in the morning. So I know for me to get my day started, I don't necessarily feel happy-go-lucky, wake up, oh, smiling. No, that's not me. But what I do realize is if I speak my affirmations, if I listen to upbeat music, if I kind of make up little songs or dance, if I go outside and run around with my dog, which I do, started, a few weeks ago, I find that even in that time, the short period of time that I have from getting up and an hour later, I feel tremendously better because I'm actually speaking words of power and I'm having actions of power. So if you don't speak life into your situation, you speak fear into your situation, yeah, you're going to feel a certain way. And there's an aspect to when they say words are power. Yeah, words are power. So if you're in this place of fear, the words that you choose will not support who you declare yourself to be. So you can declare yourself, oh, I'm a winner. Oh, I'm too blessed to be stressed. But your words have to match it. Your actions have to match it. Even if you have to fake it until you make it or push yourself out of the realm of thinking that you may be in, is not negating the fact that there's not some validity like what I said previously. But your words have to support a belief that you are a champion at heart. You have to believe it, no matter what your circumstances say to you. Fear can say, oh my gosh, you're never going to get married. Oh my gosh, you're always going to be broke. Oh my gosh, you're never going to find a job, or you're never going to lose weight, or you're never going to get ahead at your job or your career. Whatever the case may be, I'm never going to get out of debt. But you have to speak words not of limitation, but advancement. Where do you see yourself going? Where do you see your situation going, right? Fear causes your words to not affirm who you are or what you have the capability of becoming. So it's not saying that you automatically speak something and it's going to magically appear. But what it is saying is you have to affirm who you are and what you have the capability of becoming in a positive way versus letting fear play the role and downplaying the fact of who God created you to be and what you have the potential of becoming or achieving, right? Thinking limitation number 3 says fear causes you to not pay attention to the path that you choose. How does that look? Well, your actions support stagnation and not growth. Now, I don't really have examples written, but I'm thinking off the top of my head. In my life, I think that my actions support stagnation and not necessarily pursuing the things that I believe that I should pursue. And that could be making decisions about who I interact with on a specific day. What type of relationships would I like in my life? How do I want my home environment to look? How do I want my thinking pattern to be during the day? Do I catch myself? You're not consistent working on your personal life goals. So yeah, I make tons of goals. People like, I'm just so goal oriented. It's scary. But I'm the type of person I kind of start and stop. But I have to be more persistent about finishing something, even if there's a fear that comes into play in the middle where I get a little bit overwhelmed or a little bit confused. I can't let that dictate how I go about the reality of finishing something. And I think that the older that you get, you realize that you don't have as much time as you think that you have, and you stall and procrastinate. So you may want to start a business, or you may want to go back to school, or you still thinking about, oh gosh, I still want to get married, but then I also want to buy a house one day, or I want to go to Cancun, but I was thinking, oh, me and my future husband, we're going to go to Cancun together. Well, you can just always go to Cancun more than one time. I mean, I'm just being real because, in my mind, I kind of have like where I want to go on my honeymoon, right? I have to picture everything. I'm so serious. I do have my picture. But I'm thinking I could go there more than once and it's okay. I don't have to be fearful about the fact that, if I go before I get married, does that mean it's going to affect, am I actually going to get married? I mean, you think all sorts of things. I mean, even as Christians, sometimes we make up these thought patterns in our head led by fear, and it stalls and procrastinate. We stall and procrastinate, and we don't take a single step forward. One of my goals on my bucket list is to travel more, but I can't realistically sit back and think that because I have this automatic vision of a specific vacation spot for a honeymoon that I can't visit that vacation spot before. Because who's to say I'm even going to get married or even go to that specific place, So another thing that I found is you don't take any accountability measure because you doubt that your vision even makes sense. So that could be something as simple as, I don't know if you want to save a certain amount of money for purchasing a home, or let's just say you want to purchase, I don't know, some type of facility and make it over for people that have disabilities or something. But you're thinking, I'm like 56 or 57. Does that even really make sense for me to do that or pursue that goal now or start that business because I have a few years to retirement? Because there's single mavens that may have dreams as well, but they may have, they may have been married. You may be married and you're thinking, been married before, and you're thinking, does it even make sense for me to think about getting married again? Get an accountability partner for areas of your life that you think that you really should pursue, but you're not being as persistent or consistent about it. And make sure that when you do that, it's not something that you stall on because you're thinking about time or limitations. Because like I said, the whole thinking limitation here is fear causes you to not pay attention to the path that you choose. So if you're looking at fear driving you in the process, you're going to let your age, you're going to let your career or your education or your perceived capabilities limit you from making better choices and going out a different path. And I firmly believe if you have any life left in you and you're able to do things, do them. There's no guarantee that you can come back later because life may present you with something totally different you didn't think about. You may get sick. You may move. You may encounter some things with your family and you don't have time to do those things. So if you have breath left in your body, look at the path that you're choosing and see if fear is going to be the leading contender or are you stepping out on faith. And let's see, we're at 14 minutes. So I think I can do maybe one more. Thinking limitation number 4 is fear causes you to pick the wrong answer. Now this one is a lot, okay? But fear drives your thinking to automatically choose the answer of failure. And a lot of times I think we think about things from the aspect of the worst case scenario versus the best case scenario. We don't pick the best case scenario as a choice that could work for us, because if fear is in charge of this whole thing, fear is going to say nobody's out there for you. You're all alone. Fear drives your thinking into believing that you're not able to achieve or progress beyond a particular point in life. This is all it is to it. You automatically choose continued complacency in lieu of taking the leap into owning a better outcome for yourself. So if you allow fear to pick the wrong answer, you will be a consistent supporter of inaccurate choices that limit your thinking. Okay? So we went over 3 of these. The first one, oh no, we went over 4. Cool. The first one that we have is thinking limitation number 1. Fear has the capability to cloud your judgment. Thinking limitation number 2. Fear also causes you to not pay attention to the words that you speak. Thinking limitation number 3. Fear causes you to not pay attention to the path that you choose. And thinking limitation number 4. Fear causes you to pick the wrong answer. I encourage you to think about which one of these plays a more persistent role in your life, and how you can choose a better way to overcome the fear that's driving you. So hopefully this was helpful, guys. I probably will share the next 2 in a separate blog post, but I look forward to your comment, and thank you for tuning in.